Hello, everyone. So here we go. We got another snowstorm coming. It's set in stone. It's in the books. Well, it will be in the books, but I think the storm track is pretty much set. There are going to be minor fluctuations in the models over the next 24 hours. That's just how it goes, but I think in general the storm track is probably about as far west as it's going to come. The models at this point, this is the NAM here, and I don't want this video to be 20 minutes, so I'm kind of just skipping ahead. Anyway, this is the piece of energy that created the storm, and this is your steering mechanism. And one of the things that's happened over the last few model runs is that your piece here has been able to move faster and get out ahead quicker. Out ahead of this. This piece is faster. And so this is this afternoon's run of the NAM. Compare this location to last night's run. So see how this shifts to the west a little bit. Pay attention to that. So this is today's run, and that's last night's run. It's closer to the coast. So rather than being out here like it is in the new run, it is back towards the coast a little bit. So since it's out here, it's able to get out ahead of your steering mechanism and come up closer to the coast. So that's thing one that's changed. Thing two is, remember how I was talking about there has to be phasing between this piece of energy and this piece of energy down here. If that phasing happens, you have a stronger storm and it comes further west. And the new model runs have been picking up on this phasing that's going to happen. So first off, I do just want to point out that I think the models agree that it's going to be this. I was talking about this yesterday, that it's going to be this southern stream energy that actually initially creates the storm off the coast. But what they've also agreed on is that once that storm forms, you have this short wave back in here that's going to be pushing to the east, and once this reaches the coast, this will become the focus for the storm itself and the strengthening process. Because what will end up happening is that all this southern stream energy is going to phase with the short wave, and you have a strengthening storm that then gets out ahead of the steering mechanism. Sorry about that, zoom in for a second. And it comes up the coast. So, let's watch this happen. And, sorry, this is the old run, so this is a good chance to demonstrate then. So here is the storm out over the coast, and here is the steering mechanism over the Great Lakes. And notice how it sort of tries to phase, but it fails. And this is last night's run when the storm was further east. It tries to phase, but it fails. Okay, now let's look at this afternoon's run of the NAM. Okay, here we go. So this is tomorrow night. And again, notice how, yes, this piece of energy is strung out. I understand that, but regardless, it's still a very potent piece. And that's why you have a strengthening storm. Notice that because this gets out ahead, it actually is able to push back to the north and west a little bit. So that's another thing to notice. But then, there it is. This is Tuesday afternoon. Here's your phasing between the steering mechanism and the storm. Your phasing has developed. Your storm has gotten out ahead. It's being pulled back west into the flow. And thus you have a storm that is stronger. And again, not by much, but slightly further west. Now, as I mentioned, if you follow me on Facebook, I do post quite frequent updates. Because of the position of this upper level low, it's quite far to the east. I think there's a limit to how far west this storm can come. I think the limit has been reached. I don't think it comes west of the benchmark. I think even if it, I know a lot of people talk about the 4070 benchmark as the prime tracking location if you want a blizzard right along the coast. And yes, that is true. I don't think it comes west of the benchmark. I think that's too far west. I don't even know if it's going to reach the benchmark. I think it passes east of the benchmark. But regardless of that, I still think it's just close enough to the coast that you get a major snowstorm in here. Eastern New England, right along the coast. This is your major snowstorm. And I would even bring it back into central and eastern Long Island as well. Okay, so that's the thing to keep in mind. Now, the GFS this afternoon has actually fluctuated to the east. I'm not going to buy into that. It still has the same phasing, so I don't know why it shifted to the east. You have to be really mindful of these fluctuations in the models. Now, if all the models start to trend east, then we have a problem. But the GFS sort of trended to the east a little bit, but not by much. And then the other thing about the GFS, I'm going to show the surface map here. So first off, 968, that's a strong-ass storm, okay? That's number one. Number two, and I talk about this a lot, so that southern stream energy initially formed the storm. Okay, tomorrow morning, here's your storm off the coast of South Carolina. You're at 996. 996 millibars. Let's go forward, hour by hour. 992, 991, 990, 989, 988. So it's dropping about a millibar per hour. And by the time you get to Monday night, we're down to 977. And then, as a storm strengthens, you get heavy precipitation on the backside. So you can see your darker blues extending towards the coast, back towards western Long Island, and over eastern New England here into Cape Cod, Boston. You have some really darker blues coming into this area in here. Blue is a really bad color for this. Let me change this into red. You have really heavy snows coming back into the Cape, Boston, the eastern tip of Long Island, Rhode Island, back into Boston, because this storm is rapidly intensifying. And the GFS has a reputation for underdoing that on the backside of the storm. So you have to watch in this area for a period of really heavy snow late Monday night into Tuesday morning as the storm is strengthening. Now, by Tuesday morning, it appears to be done strengthening, so you start to see the snow fizzle out a little bit in here. I mean, there's still heavy snow because it's still a strong-ass storm, so you're still going to get heavy snow, but you get your heaviest snow during the intensification process. And so that tells me that it's going to be in here that you get your heaviest snow. Because once it reaches here, the phasing has already happened, and so it appears that the storm will reach its maximum strength late Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. And then it'll start to decay as it goes into the decaying stage. See 970, 971, it starts to weaken by late Tuesday night. Alright, and just to show the GFS here. Alright, this is my first time looking at this, so I'm kind of doing this from scratch. I just want to see how long it intensifies. It goes down to 963, and then it weakens it as well. So, it seems that the models do agree that the storm starts to weaken by Tuesday afternoon. It's reached its maximum strength here. But what you have to notice is you have 987. With this storm strengthening, there should be an area of heavy snow all the way back into here. The GFS is not far enough west with heavy snow. It could also be because this afternoon it shifted slightly east. That might be another reason. But with a strengthening cyclone, it is a bomb cyclone, by the way, our third one of the year, I believe. This is another bomb cyclone. With a strengthening storm, you will have an area of heavy snow in here. So this is why I tend to go to the short range models when we're within 48 hours of the storm, because I think the short range models do a much better job than the medium to long range deterministic models when it comes to these storms in the short range. Personally, I think the NAM did a really good job with the last storm. I know it was a little too far west with the storm to start, but it caught on really quickly to the eastward shift, and it quickly brought in the heavy snow to the areas where the heavy snow ended up falling. So that's why I tend to like the NAM in the short range. Now, the only model that has said no to phasing is the European model. European model says that that piece of energy that creates the storm is going to be way to the east. It's not going to phase. You'll still have a strong storm, but it's going to be further east and there'll be less accumulation. I'm not buying into that solution. There's 2 out of 3 models, both the GFS and the NAM, both say that there's going to be phasing. And as I said, I favor short range models when we're this close, so I favor the NAM solution a little more than the European. And then the other thing to look at is the short range models here. Let's see here. Looking at the swath, this is a short range ensemble forecast model. This is just a number of short range ensemble members. I want you to focus on the ensemble mean, which is this map here. This is the average of all the different ensembles that you see on the screen. This is what we're going to pay attention to. So as we go along here, here's your storm. Notice how far west it is with the storm. It's right here along the coast. This is Monday afternoon. Now as we go ahead, see, the swath is doing a really good job with this, and because I know it's hard to see, but look at all this heavy snow coming back in towards the coast because you have a strengthening low pressure system here. See that? Can't really read what this number is, and that's really bothering me. But 984. So the swath is a little weaker with the storm, but nonetheless, I think the swath is probably a little too weak with the storm. But what it does a good job of doing is bringing this heavy precipitation back when you have a strengthening storm like that towards the coast. In fact, I think there's a version of this that shows just the northeast, so let me go back for a second. Here we go. This is much better. Okay. So let's go ahead. This is the swath once again. There's your storm. Look at this. 984. Like I said, I think it's a little too weak with the storm. But what it does a really good job of is you see during the intensification process, while it's still intensifying, it's bringing back the heavy snow into here, where it should be snowing really hard. Yeah, I actually like this solution a lot. What is this? 984. So, yeah, as I said, I think the swath is a little too weak with the storm. But I'm trusting these short-range models in my forecast here. The NAM, the swath, and I am even including the GFS a little bit because I think a GFS NAM swath blend is probably the best way to go. And I'm throwing out the Euro for now because Nothing is indicating that there's going to be no phasing. Okay, so let's just go through timing here using the swath. So this is Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon. What's that? Tuesday afternoon? I cannot tell. Alright, yeah, I can't tell the timing here. Anyway, I just wanted to show the swath to show that it does a much better job with handling the precip on the backside. So, let's go to... Oh, and now that we're looking at this, this is your winter storm watch area. National Weather Service is doing a really good job with this, I gotta say. You know, the models picked up on this storm, you know, well in advance. We lost the signal for a couple days, but now the signal's back, and I gotta say, I'm really happy with what the National Weather Service has been doing with this. They issue the winter storm watch in the correct areas. Granted, I think when you come into eastern New England, National Weather Service in Taunton is a little underdone with their accumulations, but overall they're doing a really good job, so I commend them. And then this is also something I want to talk about for tonight. In this region here, you're going to get an area of accumulating snow as that short wave moves east as it digs south. Crap, this video's already at 16 minutes. God, I can talk. Oh my god. Okay. There's still so much to talk about, too. I didn't even get to talk about the winds yet. I didn't get to talk about blizzard conditions yet. Spend so much time focusing on the precip. I don't talk about anything else that's important. Alright, this video is probably going to end up being 30 minutes long. I apologize, folks. I get really excited about this stuff, and it's just really hard for me not to talk about it so much. Anyway, I do want to show this here. This is the surface map. So you see how it's going to start out as a rain and snow mix because the dynamic cooling hasn't really taken effect yet. By Monday evening, excuse me. But then notice how it quickly changes to snow. Because as the storm strengthens, you get intense upward motion on the northwestern side. You get intense upward motion on the northwestern side, and so the dynamic cooling will start to take effect and change it all to snow. So this is late Monday night, so you have your heavy snow area here, your storm is strengthening. So central and eastern Long Island, most of Connecticut, central and eastern Massachusetts, back towards the Cape, and in this area here, this is your heavy snow area. Okay, then moving north and east, storm strengthens even more, and you have even darker blues now. So the snow picks up even more in intensity in these eastern regions. All right, that's still Tuesday morning. So by Tuesday afternoon, the snow starts to clear out of southeastern New York State, migrates to the north and east. Now Maine is getting clobbered by Tuesday afternoon. Eastern New England here is still getting clobbered. And then by Tuesday night, it clears out of Massachusetts and the Cape. This is Tuesday evening. And Maine continues to get clobbered probably into Wednesday morning. So that's the timing. Now let us look at winds. Here come the winds. Tuesday morning. So if I could just, let's see, 25. So it looks like you have winds Tuesday morning, 968 low. Look at that. This is probably your region for near blizzard conditions on Tuesday morning, right in here. Anywhere from Nassau County east on Long Island, you have winds, I think this is in knots, approaching 20 knots, so that's like 25 miles per hour sustained. And then as you get towards eastern Long Island, out towards Suffolk County here, you're picking up 30 to 35 mile an hour sustained winds, and you're probably going to have gusts into the 50 mile an hour range. Same thing along the coast in New England here. Out on the Cape, take a look at these sustained winds approaching 40 to 45 miles per hour. So that is something to keep in mind. So it looks like the height is going to be Tuesday morning into Tuesday afternoon for these areas. Again, the storm's a little far east, so by Tuesday afternoon, it looks like the winds will start to subside. So I would not be surprised if blizzard warnings popped up. Maybe, how am I going to do this? Eastern Suffolk County, southeastern coastal Connecticut, coastal Rhode Island, right towards the Cape, coastal Massachusetts, including Boston. In this region in here, would not be surprised to see blizzard warnings pop up tomorrow morning. I think there will be enough snow and there will be enough wind for blizzard conditions. And out into here, again, this low will be closer to the coast in eastern New England, so you have sustained winds of up to 40 miles per hour with gusts up to 60 or greater. So you're going to get blowing and drifting of snow, and there will be enough snow to cause problems. Okay, so here's the accumulation map. So this is based on a NAM, GFS, and SREF blend. Okay, let's go through this. Philly, coating to an inch or two. I have you in the 1 to 3, but I'm thinking more like a coating to an inch or two. You have rain going over to snow late Monday night. Albany, I like 3 to 6. Good amount of lower Hudson Valley, central New York State. I like 3 to 6. Northeastern New Jersey, I like 2 to 4, 3 to 6. New York City in here, I have you in the 3 to 6. I'm thinking a 2 to 4 or a 3 to 6 is more likely. And then once you start pushing east into Vermont here, this is where you start getting into the 6 to 12, right into western New Hampshire as well. So I'd have Rutland, Vermont in the 6 to 12. If I'm getting my geography right, I think Burlington is probably on the western edge of the 6 to 12. Western Massachusetts, we're going to go 6 to 12. Hartford, Connecticut, and a good portion, most of Connecticut, is going to be 6 to 12. And then once you start pushing towards central and eastern Long Island, this is where you get into the 6 to 12. Out on the Twin Forks. Why is my pen tool not working? Oh, shoot, that wasn't my pen tool. Hold on a second. I just used paint to draw on the map. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Wanted to use my pen tool. Once you start getting east of William Floyd Parkway out on the Twin Forks, I'm starting to feel more confident that there's going to be intense snow banding over the Twin Forks. So I would not be surprised if you picked up 12 to 16 over the Twin Forks here. So I definitely see that as a possibility, but for now I'm going to leave all of Nassau and Suffolk County in 6 to 12. Alright, here we go. Here's where it's going to be a blockbuster storm. Anywhere east of this red line. In here. Cape Cod, Providence, all of Rhode Island, extreme eastern Connecticut, Boston, coastal New Hampshire, all of down east Maine, even back west into central Maine. We're going to go 1 to 2 feet. I am confident that's going to be 1 to 2 feet. It's a pretty aggressive forecast, but you have a bomb cyclone that's rapidly strengthening, and the other thing that I did not show, and because this video is 25 minutes, I'm not going to show it, but there is a fresh injection of Arctic air coming down into New England. It's pretty obvious on the temperature map. So your boundary layer temperatures are not going to be a problem in eastern New England. So you're definitely getting 1 to 2 feet. I definitely think Boston gets 1 to 2 feet of snow out of this. I definitely think the Cape gets 1 to 2 feet of snow out of this. I definitely think all of down East Maine gets 1 to 2 feet. Could anybody get over 2 feet? That's a very suspect question. I think the storm moves a little too quick for that. If anybody gets over 2 feet, it's not going to be widespread. It'll be due to frontogenetical snow banding on the northwestern side. You always have to watch out for higher amounts where snow bands develop, especially on the northwestern side of an intensifying cyclone. Okay, yeah, so 12 to 24 inches. This is the area east of this red line here. Boston, Cape Cod, Providence, Portland, Maine, all of down East Maine, eastern New Hampshire. These are the areas to watch out for a blockbuster storm, blizzard conditions. I will draw this area, central and eastern, Central and eastern Long Island, coastal Connecticut, coastal Rhode Island, back towards Providence, the Cape, coastal New Hampshire, back towards Boston. This is where you're going to watch out for blizzard warnings to pop up tomorrow and for blizzard conditions to form. You're going to have sustained winds, 25 to 35 miles per hour with gusts to 50 or 60 miles per hour. Blowing and drifting of snow. It's going to be a friggin' mess. Alright, now the last thing I want to go over here before we reach 30 minutes. I'm not going to go into details about this, but you just have to watch out for a period of accumulating snow to occur. It's probably already occurring right now. I'm not looking at the radar. Sorry, that's a little too far north. But on the northwestern side of that shortwave diving south, you have to watch out for a period of accumulating snow in here. Kentucky, West Virginia, all of Virginia, into western and central Tennessee. D.C., you're in it. I think you definitely get a couple inches. But you have to watch out in here for a 2 to 4 or a 3 to 6 tonight into tomorrow morning. So watch out for that. And then we have our blockbuster storm to the north and east. Okay, I'm going to stop here. You saw my accumulation map. I'm not changing it even though the GFS shifted a little further east. If all the models start to shift east, I'm going to determine, number 1, why it's happening, and number 2, if I believe it, and then number 3, then I will adjust my accumulation map. But for now, it stands as it is. I think this is a blockbuster storm, and it's happening on the anniversary of the March 12th to 13th, 1993 superstorm. So maybe that says something too. It's on the anniversary of that major storm. And the interesting thing, if I remember correctly, with the superstorm, your major accumulation was inland. It was not by the coast. So now it's the coast's turn. Notice that the last 2 storms we had, all the accumulation was inland. So now the coast is overdue. It is your turn to get heavy snow. And it's coming. It's going to happen. Here it is. This is the storm. This is New England's storm, in my opinion. This is your storm of the winter, New England, coming up.